Well, welcome everyone to today's Coffee with Kendra. It is such a pleasure to have you here. We are going to be talking about why digital trust is the number one priority in the AI area. I am continuing our discussion around AEO and the impact that AI is having on marketing and sales and what it is that you need to do. And today, it's all about trust. In our last Coffee with Kendra, I had shared how AI has impacted search and how you have probably seen in your website, your searches have dropped significantly. And that's because people have become very comfortable going out to places like ChatGPT, Perplexity, Quora to ask questions and get answers. And they're not necessarily going to Google. And you add to it the fact that Google is now sharing its own AI responses through Gemini, and you don't even need to click through to places to get the answers. And so that has caused a decline in your websites. Well, it says then that we have to figure out how are we going to reach our community differently. And AI and AEO are the way that we need to do it. Well, in the last Coffee with Kendra, I talked about what do you have to do to change your content so that you can be found. But a bigger piece even is that when people go to AI, they are looking for answers that they can believe, that they can trust, and that will make them feel comfortable before they ever reach out to anybody. And as a result, when they're there, they're establishing a degree of trust with what AI is telling them. And so trust, digital trust, has become a priority that you cannot ignore. You have to pay attention to, because if you're not demonstrating digital trust when your community is out searching and asking questions and engaging in different communities, then they're not going to reach out to you. Today, you can be found through AI and through the different communities and have people reach out to you because they have made a decision based on the things that they have heard talking with that community in Reddit or Quora, or what they've read about you on ChatGPT. And as a result, reach out feeling like they know you. And in the past, the only place that you got that degree of community and built that level of trust was through social media. But now it's so exciting. You have a whole nother way you can do that. And it's in the way that you are communicating with your digital trust. I just got a notice that said our video was disconnected. So hopefully I'm not coming and going for you. Hang in there if that happens, because I'm not going anywhere. So today what we're talking about is how is it then that we establish trust such that when people are out and they are searching, they're asking questions, they're looking for real information and guidance, that you are the company that they want to come and talk to. And the goal that I have for today's conversation is that you start to rethink about how you build trust with your target market and your community. I even want you thinking broader than a target market. Think about the community of people who are interested in knowing you and being able to establish trust with every one of your digital interactions, not just the voice-to-voice sales interactions that you're having, but interactions like this, where we're interacting digitally. And when they're out in a community, when they are on social media, when they're seeing your marketing content, all the ways that they can interact digitally. And we're going to talk about it from the perspective of both sales and marketing. And I'm going to give you strategies. I've got a whole boatload of information that I'm going to share with you today. Some of the slides I'm going to move through quickly. At the end, I will give you a link where you can download the handout so that you can listen to what I'm saying and not feel like you have to screen grab everything. Just go get them. I also have some resources that I'm going to give you, because if ever there was a time where you need more resources, it's right now with all the changes that AI is bringing on. So I've got some cool things that I'm going to give you that will help. And yes, today's session is being recorded, so you can come and listen again. Now, you know that I like to always start with a poll. And the first poll that I have, going to start it here, is to ask a question around how often do you think about trust when shaping your marketing strategy or your online sales interactions? So a lot of what I was just saying, in your mind, you're probably thinking, oh, content, talking about social media, engaging there. You're thinking in your mind that all relates to marketing, but we're communicating in sales as well and building trust digitally through sales. Because think about all the email communications we have when you're in LinkedIn and the communications you have there, all those different places, those are digitally. So let's see, is it always where it's a top priority? Is it sometimes? It depends on the situation. Is it rarely? I focus more on messaging, tactics, or features, or not really? This is new to me. Tell me where you are in how often you think about shaping digital trust. So as I look at it, I'm also going to turn on, for those of you who will be listening in YouTube, I'm going to do some screen sharing for you. And let's do a share. Here we go. Okay. And I'm going to move us forward to where you can see the poll. So those of you who are watching in YouTube, you can see the poll that I asked. All right. It looks like there's a pretty high percentage of you that say rarely, that you focus more on messaging, tactics, and features. I'm seeing we've got a horse race going on here. So it looks like we've got 30% of you that are saying that you focus more on messaging, tactics, or features. And we don't have anybody who said you always do, it's a top priority. And then there are some of you that are, there's a higher percentage in the 70s that are saying sometimes it depends on the situation. All right, well then let's talk about what it is that you can do to establish trust. And here's why trust is your ultimate differentiator. When people go to AI, whether it's a human or it's AI that's going out and looking for an answer, what they are looking for is information that they can trust. They're approaching it from a very skeptical perspective. They want proof. They want stats. They want examples. They want people who are going to say, yes, I've interacted with this company, or here's what my recommendation is. And I'm going to stop sharing the poll so you can see this. I know, I'm on my own today, so it's like I've got to manage everything. You can enjoy that with me. So your buyers are skeptical when they approach when they're looking for their answer to their question. They also need tools, the AI tools, are looking for data that they can trust. They're looking for examples. They want to see the same information in your social, on your website, in how you're answering questions in the communities that show that, yes, you are a trustworthy resource. So they're looking for that type of information to show that, hey, I can trust what this person is saying. Trust then drives results, because if the buyers are skeptical and they feel comfortable, and then the AI tools are serving you up, all of a sudden now that trust is starting to be built within your decision makers and your target market, and those people are feeling that level of trust, and now they're coming to your website to learn more. So you'll see inbound leads start to happen. You'll see warmer conversions. You'll see shorter sales cycles, because they got more information when they were out doing their searching before they ever engaged with you. Now, I love the stat that you can see on this slide when I screen share it again. I'm going to go here. There you go. Now you can see it. 70% of people say that trusting a brand is more important to them today than it was in the past. And the part that I think is so important here is that it is across all age groups, all income statuses, and all genders. How often can there be one thing that you need to focus on that will fit every type of person? Trust is that one thing. So you need that digital trust established in your community. So here's how you do it. First of all, Google had a model that fits exactly still today. We haven't talked about it in a long time. You probably haven't heard it. There was a period when we talked about SEO and what Google looked for back when they would publish some information that would give you insights into what you needed to do to be found in SEO search, and then they stopped doing it. Well, it was called the EAT model. And EAT is experience, expertise, authoritativeness, and trustworthiness. Notice that the T is the trust. This model works today when we're thinking about AI and digital communities. And notice how I talk about AI tools and digital communities together, because people are going out into the wide world of the internet, and they are communicating in all sorts of different places. They are in social. They are in social groups. They are in the AI tools. They are out in the digital communities. They're in private digital communities as well. Those are all places that they are going to get answers to their questions before they ever Google search someone and reach out to you in sales. So the EAT model is an approach that fits very well. It helps you to establish your credibility. We know that it's being used in all these different places because it's what shows your credibility and your trust. And that then says that the question that you have to answer is, how do you show EAT in every one of your interactions? Okay, so I want you to remember that. It means that you're going to rethink your perspective of how you can differentiate yourself. It's time to fundamentally change the way that you are thinking. We want to move from an approach of, we're going to push out marketing and in that one-way communication, we're going to be able to communicate everything that people need to know, and they're going to want to respond to us. We're just going to give them lots of information. We're going to keep inviting them to things. We're going to keep promoting things to them. We're going to keep talking about features. And instead, we want to move to proving credibility. So it's shifting then toward those interactions that will demonstrate your value, your trustworthiness, and your authority. In doing that, now we are being more authentic in the way that we are engaging, and we are building more trust. So every single customer touch point, every online or offline communication has to answer that question of why should someone trust us? What's going on? How do we help them to trust in us? And you want to respond with authenticity. And if we go back to our EAT model, with the experience, the expertise, and the authoritativeness and the trustworthiness will come from it. Okay. That means that there's a shift that has to happen, and it's across your whole organization. Leaders shift, marketers have to shift, and sales has to shift. Leaders have to move from managing the activities to modeling transparency and thought leadership. You leaders need to be more visible now. People need to see that what you think about, how you're leading your organization, the direction that you are taking them. Marketers have to move from just pushing out campaigns to creating content that is educational again. And in that will help people to learn and establish trust because you are helping them to learn. And if you never moved past that, now double down on the amount of education that you are doing through your marketing. The sales shift is moving from pitching. And gosh, I hope in all the time that we have worked together that you have learned that you should be talking consultatively with your clients and not doing pitching. But if you had gotten into the mode of talking more transactionally and not being consultative, you've got to shift back, because that trusted advisor approach is what's making a difference now. If your messaging that AI picks up from what marketing is doing is different than how the leader is talking, or is different than how sales is working with a prospect, that's going to create distrust, and it's going to lose you opportunities, because prospects and your target market and your community aren't seeing you be consistent. They don't feel like they can trust you. And it's not like they sit back and they say to themselves, oh my gosh, when I went to their website, it said one thing. And then when I talked with a rep, they said something different. So I don't trust them. They notice the disconnect, but they don't connect in their mind, oh, I don't trust this person, so therefore I'm not going to work with them. Instead, they say, there's not much continuity here. I don't know that they can really do what they said on their website. They over promoted what their capabilities were, so I'm not going to work with them. All of that could be true. At the basis of it is the fact that you did not establish digital trust that was consistent across everything that you do. So here's the perspective that your client has. They're out doing all this AI research. They're engaging to get lots of information. And once they do, they make a list of who it is they want to reach out to. Think of it like when they see a digital ad and they've read about services that they're interested in. And now they're going to go perhaps do an AI search and ask some more questions. Or they click through on that digital ad and 3 others like it because they're looking for something. And there was something in that ad that established a feeling of, yeah, this could be a company that I could work with. Looks like they could solve our problems. At the other end, when they reach out to you and they have a conversation, they're still skeptical because they haven't had that conversation yet. They're asking themselves, can I really work with them? It looks like I could, but now I've got to go do some exploration. I have to figure it out. You want to be able to show proof before you present your presentation. And you want that consistency across all your channels in case they see the proof when they are out in a community like a Reddit, or they're out on social media, or they are in ChatGPT asking questions. Then when they come to the human, who's your salesperson, that salesperson is being very consultative, is showing the right information, providing it, asking the right questions, and they come with confidence and authenticity to the client. So now your client starts to build digital trust. In a McKinsey 2025 report, 88% of respondents reported that they are using AI regularly in at least one business function. So what I'm talking about is supported. People are out there going and getting their answers from a whole different place than they used to before. And it's critical that we're establishing that digital trust so that they want to come to us. They feel like this is a company that we could work with, that could help us. Okay. So now you're going, okay, Kendra, this sounds great. I got it. I buy in. But how the heck does trust happen? Well, it's in 4 different areas: gradual formation, instant connection, subconscious shift, and the higher hurdle, shorter journey. So let's talk for a minute about each of those. Gradual formation means that they're building trust over time. They're seeing different proof points. I've given you 2 stats already. You've gone out into AI and you've looked for stats. You've looked for concrete information, and you've done it over time. What you want to be doing is consistently having information out there so that if somebody comes back again, there's your name again. There's more good information, all about what they are trying to address. Frankly, it stems from a problem that they have. I'm a member of Vistage, and Vistage is, I would describe it, because I know of many different peer groups, as a private peer group membership site. They would use loftier words, but having been involved with lots of different peer groups where we support people within them, that's the way I look at it. They have their own private community. And every day I see all the questions that business owners are asking on how to solve a problem. They're getting feedback from all their peers on the tools to use, the process to use, the people to use. And digital trust is built because people trust the Vistage network and what the community is saying, because they know the type of people who are in that community. So if you get mentioned in a community like that, you instantly have digital trust. It comes from that gradual formation of posting things out there, answering other people's questions, having your content be recognized by AI, being consistent in what you're doing in your digital marketing, having your sales team talking the same way that you're talking in all of those forums. Instant connection, the second way trust happens, is it happens. Sometimes you have a conversation with people and you just click. And you know that. You can have that first discussion, and the way the questions went, the way the answers went, the way the conversation went, trust just happens. And that can be an instant connection. You want that to happen. It doesn't have to be instant. If it does, it's wonderful, right? Everything moves smoothly. But if it doesn't, you are building that over time. And that's something that your salespeople experience, right? We're working on it toward marketing. It happens digitally. Now, when they engage with sales in their emails, in social, and in their Teams, Zoom conversations, all of that, they're building that trust. Another way that trust happens is through a subconscious shift. Remember, I said that when a person is out and they're in ChatGPT, they've asked a question, ChatGPT returns the answer. If they trust what that answer says, there's a sudden shift. Oh, I should call that company that it referenced because that makes sense to me. The way they talked about how do I solve that sales process problem, it makes sense to me. The way they guided me in how I should change my marketing content, it makes sense to me. I should call them. I bet I could have a pretty deep conversation about what our next step should be. Okay. So there's a shift that happens because they read that information and trust starts. And again, it's not like they said, oh, I trust this company now because I read this one thing on ChatGPT. No, it's because they've read consistent things and it makes sense to them. And then the fourth way that trust happens is a higher hurdle, shorter journey. Okay. The hurdle is higher in building the trust because they're going out and they're searching, they're talking in all these different communities. When they come to you, it's a shorter buyer's journey because they come more educated. And that is a very scary thing when you are in sales. You know the buyer's journey where they start in unawareness, awareness, interest, desire, and then they take action. In the past, we've always taught salespeople they want to come in to the buyer's journey at the top of that funnel in awareness. Unawareness is hard because they're unaware that they even have a problem. And so you're creating a problem. And that's not a fun place to be in sales because you're never the priority when you have to create the problem. We always learned come in at awareness, where they're aware they have a problem and you can influence how they think about that problem. And you wanted your salespeople to be able to do that influencing. The influencing has moved to the digital community. That influencing now happens in ChatGPT, Quora, social. That's where the influence is occurring. And when they finally reach a salesperson, they're now further down in the buy cycle in the interest stage where they've already found some different answers from their private peer group, like I see happen in Vistage, or that happens out on Reddit, or sometimes you see happen in social, or they've asked AI. They got all their answers, and now they're coming, they know the solution. That's a hard place to be as a salesperson because you can't necessarily influence where they've already made their mind up, which means you need to have built business digital trust through all the other things that you're doing before that happens with the salesperson, and the salesperson has to be in alignment with it. So that's how trust happens and how it influences your marketing and your sales. Now, I want to show you a slide that I have talked about in the past, recognition ROI. Recognition ROI is how, as you get known, you are thought of more highly by your buyers, and the market is aware of who you are. And now you move from where you're just getting referrals from people to now you're one of the companies that when a buyer is going out to make a decision, they are thinking about consistently. Your name pops up every time. You are now a contender. And when your digital trust has risen high enough and enough people know about you so that you have high market ubiquity and buyers think highly of you, you move into expert status recognition where you are one of the companies that they want to work with. They hope to be able to work with because of the stature that you have gained. Digital trust is a foundation element of moving from not being recognized at all to being referred, to being one of the contenders, to becoming one of the experts that they would feel honored and lucky to have been able to work with. So in digital trust, we are helping influence how you move up into that expert status recognition. Once you get here, growth becomes easier because people are seeking you out because you are at that level. Okay. So here are 6 trust signals that build authority. AI mentions and references, Reddit and Quora mentions and engagement, social visibility, case studies and testimonials, awards and certifications, and relational transparency. So let's talk about each of these. AI mentions and references, we already know that. You know, just thinking of your own experiences, that you go to ChatGPT or you go to Copilot, you go to Claude, you ask a question. When they give you a reference, if you need more information, you're clicking through to get the answers. In Reddit and Quora, you're out there asking the questions and you're getting answers, or you are answering the questions. Social visibility, we've been doing that for a long time. Look at how popular LinkedIn became and how critical a business resource it is right now. Case studies and testimonials have always been important. They are, when somebody goes to your website, if they can see case studies and they see testimonials, it adds to your digital trust. Your salespeople then use them, and guess what? AI pulls from it. Okay. Awards and certification mean that you have been recognized by outside sources for being an authority, and you've been awarded for that. And relational transparency, that's a soft one. It's where you are being very authentic in all of your communications, in the insights that you provide, in the way that you talk. That's a leadership shift, by the way. Remember I talked about the 3 shifts? Relational transparency has to be at all levels within your organization. Leadership, marketing, and sales. Okay. So I have, and you're going to get this when you download the slides, I'm going to show you. I have created for you a document that shows how you can apply those 6 trust signals in marketing and in sales. I'm not going to go through all of it today, but this is a great resource for you, because if you're finding that you want to do more, say, be found with AI mentions and references, it tells you here from a marketing perspective, you want to publish clear, structured content that AI tools can pull from. And what are you going to publish? You're going to share insights across the channels, and you're going to follow AEO and SEO best practices. So think of this as a recipe for how you can put these 6 trust signals into action. On the sales side, you're going to reference AI insights and conversations. If you're seeing things that are being said out on AI, then you're going to talk about those, and you're going to use AI-ready summaries in outreach. So if a question was asked, what's a summary that you're getting from AI that you can use to talk about it in an email? AI can create it for you. So it's not just what are we doing to be found in AI, but it's how do we use AI to help build that trust. So you're definitely going to want to, I'd say, screenshot this or pull it out of the presentation, because it'll show you what you do in each of the different trust signals to build your authority through marketing and your sales application. And Kyle, you asked, can we get the previous slide about trust? Yes. I have a link at the end where you can go and you're going to be able to download all the slides, because I actually put more content into this than we'll have time to go through, because I want you to walk away understanding, how do you build digital trust? Things are so different now because of AI, and they're moving so quickly. I know you're feeling it. We wrote a blog about AI fatigue. And it's a real thing. People are feeling it. They're trying to figure out, not only how do I navigate AI, but how do I bring it into my business? What's it doing to my business? How's it changing my business? And so I'm looking at it saying, I've got to give you more insight now than I ever have before, so you know how to respond to it. So there's a lot in today's Coffee with Kendra in the slides, and I'll share those. Here's the critical success factor in your digital trust. It's consistency across the digital and the human channels. If you are not consistent in what you're doing in your marketing and what's happening in your sales, in how you are engaging in communities, and how you are engaging and posting in social, in your digital ads, in how your salespeople are talking, in what the leadership is saying when they go out and they do speaking engagements, then your trust is at risk. Trust can be inherent. Digital trust can be something that is subconscious. But if you are inconsistent in how you are communicating the messaging, what you are saying, what you're talking about, how you present yourself, then you're going to hurt your trust. And potentially you'll actually breed distrust. Okay. We want to build trust in the sales process. There are 3 ways to do that. In your outreach, in your conversations, and in your proposals and closes, especially. I'm showing you here specific ways that you can do that. I'll give you some examples, and then you can take it from there. In outreach, you're going to lead with community QA style questions. So if you're out engaging in the community, You want to ask QA type of questions and see the answers that people are giving and respond to some of those. You want to include proof points where you can. If your strength has not been analytics and sales, being able to talk about analytics, now is the time to strengthen that and learn. Get some good stats that reinforce how you have helped clients, some of the issues that they've had. If they don't solve them, what are the stats behind it? And use those in your conversations with people. Because of AI and its ability to return a boatload of information, it returns all sorts of stats, which, by the way, are not necessarily accurate. But people are trusting it. So trust but verify is what I'm going to tell you whenever you get a stat from AI. Please go check it. I did searches for this presentation to find the stats that I was giving you, and it returned to me 10 different stats. Of the 10, only 4 were valid, were ones that it could actually find, and I could go search and I could find that stat again. So I'm not going to necessarily say it made up the stat, but I couldn't actually go find that stat again. So you definitely want to trust but verify, and have some good stats that are in your back pocket that you can quote. One that I use frequently, because we do a lot of coaching with sales leaders, and they are trying to improve the productivity of their sales team. Many business owners don't realize that sales managers should be spending 50% of their time doing coaching. And that's a stat that I have memorized because it's one that shocks them every single time. But if you think about it, if you're coaching your sales team, they're going to learn from being coached, and you're not necessarily having a training manual that's open and you're coaching from it. Instead, you're coaching based on the last sales call that they were in, or you're coaching because of an answer that they gave in a sales meeting, or you are brainstorming for a sales meeting that they're preparing for, or a presentation that they're doing. All of that is coaching. And the salesperson is getting better and better and better with each one of those interactions. So you want some good stats in your back pocket that you can talk about. And you can use it in your outreach, you use it in your conversations, and you use it in your proposals and your closes. Okay. You'll get this slide in the download. All right. Now, in marketing, there are a number of things you can do to build trust through your messaging. And if you think about it, the EAT model is all about building trust, and it was designed for marketing, but it fits sales. So here I'm going to show you all the different ways that you can build trust in marketing. Research the top questions being asked in AI and answer them. Move from what we do to proof of what we've done. Add AI or add AEO compliant messaging to some of your website content. Go back and listen to the last Coffee with Kendra where I shared to you what do you need to do with your AEO content. Replace buzzwords with evidence, stats, metrics, things that build your credibility. Make proof easy to verify with sources. If you get quoted anywhere, that it's easy for them to find that quote. Again, to find that data. Share personalized stories that humanize the brand. If they can feel connected to you, it builds your digital trust. That's why social is so popular, and why forums like the different communities, like a Reddit or a Quora or a Vistage or a ConnectWise Evolve, there's all these different communities because they have that human connection in them, in the personalized stories. Use trust forward content. Oh my gosh, video. If you're not doing it, do it now. FAQs, stories, case studies, they all help. And then shift from trying to do a whole high volume of content to quality that's that better relates to what your target market needs to know about, and put it in the channels where they are. Okay. So you'll get all of this. And I have a quick final poll for you. Where do you see, I'm going to go to my polls. Oh, I've got to end this poll and find my other poll. Bill, I might need some help there. Oh, I've got to reset. Here we go. I got it. This is called authenticity in video. When you get to see me trying to figure out, where did my poll go? That's authentic. It's more fun. So where do you see the biggest opportunity to build more trust with your prospects? Is it in how you market? So you're going to have more content, more proof points, more recognition. Is it in how sales engages? So conversations, follow-up, transparency. Is it in leadership visibility, thought leadership, sharing experience stories? Is it in aligning marketing, sales, and leadership? Or are you not sure yet and you think you need some help? Tell me what you're thinking there. And it looks like, wow, we've got everybody in one place. It's in how you market. So that's where you see the biggest opportunity. What I'll share is right now, when you think about digital, the first thing that comes to your mind is marketing. So it makes sense that that would be the place that you feel like you have the biggest opportunity, because it's the easiest one to conceptualize first. It makes sense that you'll build digital trust through your content, making your content consistent, being engaged out in different communities, being active in social, being visible in digital ads, social, ideally showing up in AI searches. It's easier to grasp how you could do that than to start thinking about, well, what does that mean for sales? What do I have to do there? I want to encourage you to expand your thinking so that you are thinking about how sales is building digital trust, utilizing what you're doing in marketing, and so that there's consistency across marketing. I also want to encourage you to think about your leadership. If you are the business owner, what do you do that reinforces what you're telling marketing your message needs to be? Are you carrying that message across your whole team? Are you carrying that message out into your community when you talk with others? And are you being active in sharing that message? Because that will help build your digital trust from a very strategic level. So while marketing may be the easiest place to conceptualize how you'll build your digital trust, I'm encouraging you to think about your sales and your leadership as well. Okay, boy, if I didn't give you a lot of information, and some of it probably feels, oh my gosh, Kendra, it kind of feels esoteric to me. How do I put this into action? I'm not really sure. I get it. Everything's changing. We've got to figure it out, and we can help you with that. Schedule a 30-minute quick consult. And what we're going to do is we're going to examine where your digital trust is breaking down, where you feel like it could be hurting your business because you're not consistent, or you're not even sure where it could be. And we will examine what is happening and how you can strengthen those areas. Download the slides. I'm giving you a link to do that. You can see there's a QR code here on the slide, and Bill will put the link in chat for you. And then I've got 2 phenomenal tools for you all on this landing page. The first one is the AEO Roadmap and Email Training Series. So we have a roadmap that shows you how do you have to shift to be compliant in AEO. What are the things that you have to do? Phenomenal tool. And then following it, we have an email series that talks about each one of those areas. And trust is one of them. So not only are you going to get the tool, but now we're going to do training for you through email. That's all free. Go get it. I encourage you, because you've got to figure this out. It's what's most important in your business right now, so that you can continue to be found and build your business. This is a core element for your growth. Then the other tool, another phenomenal one, Lisa from our team built a digital trust review GPT. This is cool. So you can put your content into it, and it's going to give you a score on how well it builds trust with buyers. And that one is also free. So go to the landing page, download the slides, because I showed you a boatload of information, and there are some slides there that you want to keep and use. Get the AEO roadmap so you can start the email series and see what you need to change, and get the digital trust review GPT and go check some of your content and see how it's scoring, and set a 30-minute quick consult, and let's talk about how your digital trust is doing and where it needs to be strengthened. And then I'll share with you where we could help you do that. Okay. So I want you to go get that. And if you are online, you've got the link in the chat. Our next Coffee with Kendra, our next revenue generating webinar, is going to be selling into chaos. Because aren't you feeling the chaos right now? Isn't it feeling a little challenging to sell? We're going to talk about selling into chaos and how to break through the volatility. Sales cycles are longer. Decision makers are breaking things down into small phases, and then they're still dragging their feet on moving forward. There's lots of different people who are trying to sell to the exact same contacts. Prices have gone up. Got all the market volatility. There's a lot happening. So we're going to talk about how do you sell into the chaos. And Lynn Heidi is my guest in that webinar. It's on December 17th at 1 o'clock. Save the date on your calendar. We'll be sending out information so that you can register later, but put that on your calendar. Then, if you are part of our Coffee with Kendra community that is a HubSpot user or is watching HubSpot, on December 3rd, Bryn Tillman is going to be joining me, and she's going to share how to build your list in HubSpot with LinkedIn. And we're going to go through what are the things that you can do to build your list in HubSpot leveraging LinkedIn. And that'll be on December 3rd at 1 o'clock Eastern as well. And we will start sending, we're going to send a couple emails out about that over the next 2 weeks. Okay. So 2 Coffee with Kendras coming up. Watch your inbox for those. If you are in part of the HubSpot community, I'll look forward to having you on December 3rd. Otherwise, join me for Selling into Chaos and How to Break Through the Volatility with Lynn Heidi on December 17th when we do that. My parting thoughts for you as we talk about digital trust is your prospects are coming to you further along in their buy cycle, having gotten lots of information from AI, from different communities, and from social. And as a result, when they reach your salespeople, they're much further down in their buyer's journey. If you have not built digital trust, it will be harder for your salespeople to convert those opportunities because they have to do it in a condensed time period and probably in a competitive situation if the prospects are going out to others that they also heard about in those same AI tools, digital communities, and social media. So you must pay attention to digital trust. Yes, in marketing, also for your sales team and at the leadership level. This is important. You have to do it. Reach out if you need help. I'm here. I'm Kendra Lee. It was a pleasure talking with you today, and I'll see you in our next revenue generating webinar.